Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are diving into a secret weapon of the English language, pronouns. Now, they might seem pretty basic, but trust me, getting them right is the key to making your speech flow and making sure your ideas really truly land. So let's get into it.
All right, let's just start with a sentence. Laura has a house, and Laura's house is beautiful. Laura loves Laura's house. I mean, grammatically, nothing's wrong here, but you can feel it, right? It's just so clunky and repetitive. It's not how people actually talk.
So, the big question is, how do we fix that? How do we make it sound, natural? Well, luckily, there's a very specific tool in our language toolbox designed for exactly this kind of problem.
And that tool is the pronoun. You got it. At their heart, pronouns are really just simple but incredibly powerful word replacers. They're like these little stand-ins that solve our clumsy Laura problem with a bit of elegance.
So here's the official idea. A pronoun is simply a word used instead of a noun. So instead of saying Laura over and over again, we can just swap in some pronouns. She has a house, and her house is beautiful. She loves it. See? Hear that difference? It's just so much smoother. Okay. So let's start building out our pronoun toolkit. And the first two items we're going to grab are the absolute fundamentals, the ones you're going to use all the time, subject and object pronouns.
And the difference between them is actually pretty intuitive. It all boils down to one simple question: who's doing the action and who's having the action done to them? The subject is kind of like the star of the show, while the object is the one receiving the action. Okay, think of this table as your ultimate cheat sheet. Just look at how they change. I give a gift, but the gift is given to me. They go to the store, but I go to the store with them. It's a direct swap, and it all depends on the role they're playing in the sentence. All right, next up in our toolkit are the pronouns that are all about one thing and one thing only: ownership. If you ever need to answer the question, hey, who does this belong to? Possessives are your go-to tool.
And check this out. There's a really cool pattern here. This is my phone becomes the phone is mine. Or is that your jacket becomes is that jacket yours? Did you catch that? See that little S that just keeps popping up at the end? That's a fantastic little trick to help you remember the right form. Okay, let's tackle a really common point of confusion, the word its. In this sentence, the dog wagged its tail. It's with no apostrophe. It just means the tail belongs to the dog. That's it. Simple ownership. But then you see this. It's a beautiful day. That little apostrophe, it changes everything. It's is just a shortcut, a contraction for two words. It is. So here's the key takeaway, the simple rule. No apostrophe means it owns something. With an apostrophe, it just means it is. Okay, so we've got our core tools down. Now it's time to add some of the more specialized tools to our kit. The ones we use for pointing at stuff and, of course, for asking questions. First up, we have demonstrative pronouns. You can just think of these as your pointing words. You use this and these for things that are close to you, and you use that and those for things that are a bit farther away. Simple as that. And now for the interrogative pronouns. You know these guys. They are the classic question words. They're absolutely essential for getting information. Let's just run through a couple of them, rapid-fire style. So if you're asking about a person, you use who. Easy enough. Who is that girl? Now let's say there's a limited choice of items, like a few phones sitting on a table. That's when you use which. Which is your phone? And whose brings us right back to that idea of ownership we were talking about. Whose is this apple is really just a much faster way of asking, hey, who does this apple belong to? All right, now it's time for the advanced tools. This is where pronouns really level up. They go from just replacing single words to actually connecting entire ideas, which lets us build much more complex and, frankly, more interesting sentences. Okay, so let's take a simple idea. Here's piece number 1. The teacher taught English. Totally straightforward. And here's piece number 2, about the same person. The teacher has resigned. Again, another perfectly good sentence all by itself. But watch what happens when we use a relative pronoun to join them. The teacher who taught English has resigned. Do you see that? That one little word, who, just weaves those two separate thoughts into one sophisticated sentence. It's more efficient and it just flows so much better. So let's just step back for a second and look at the pretty powerful communication toolkit that we've just put together. This is way more than just a random list of words.
We started with the absolute core, the engine, subject and object pronouns. Then we added the ability to show ownership with possessives. After that, we layered on some specialist tools for pointing things out and asking questions. And finally, we unlocked the advanced skill of connecting our ideas with relatives. You've basically built a complete system for clearer communication.
Because at the end of the day, pronouns are so much more than just grammar rules. They're the tools you use to build clear ideas, to ask sharp questions, and to tell compelling stories. You have the tools now. So the only question left is, what will you build with your words?